When we got home, John Rambo rear-ended my wife. She's thinking she's gonna go back and grind a little more. Ball sack. Thanks for the money, dummies. Band, 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 band. The camera's been on the whole time. Bouncy, bouncy. I'm actually a virgin. See this fucking piece of garbage disc? Thanks for the money, stupid fuck. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a new week of streaming here on DSP Gaming. Of course, I'm DSP. First of all, it looks bright in here because it is. Full sun outside today. Even my blinds can't really hold it back. And what a day we've got in store. This show is going to have so much to talk about, including addressing misinformation about this very show. I have an update on the status of co-op with my wife and I. Phil's day off segment. I mean, we've got a very repetitive and boring show today. So let's get started. Now, this is the start of a shorter streaming week. Only 5 days this week. I wonder why Phil's doing a shorter week. It's because of the impending release of the ginormous game Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You may have heard of it, considering it's been the talk of the town the last couple of days. So, with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth releasing on Thursday, February 29th, that kind of throws a little bit of a monkey wrench into my plans. I want to be here for the release of the day, so I'm gonna shift my day off by a day, which means I'll be here all day long on Thursday, the 29th, to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth with all of you. But anyway, all right, so we got so much to talk about, really. How about we start at the beginning, going back to Wednesday, because I want to address something that apparently happened on my day off that I wasn't aware of. As you know, there's a ton of people on the internet who just basically are out to always make me look bad no matter what it is I say and do. I'm constantly misrepresented, and I'm constantly held in a negative light, even though there's really no valid reason for it. Apparently, there's a group of people who are really angry with me. I don't know why, because literally what they're angry at me for didn't happen. Let's recap and go back to Wednesday's show. I had a big segment about Elden Ring's DLC. At that moment when I record the podcast, I talked about everything that was known at the time about this DLC. The price, the features, and speculation. At that point, 11 a.m. Pacific time, the trailer for this DLC had only been present on the internet for 4 hours. There was no other information. Everything was speculation. Now, what ended up happening was more information was released because Miyazaki, the guy behind Elden Ring, was interviewed. And when he was interviewed, he gave a ton of additional information about the DLC. So let's recap. Originally, when we were talking about this Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, we were talking about some of the things that we actually saw in it. A new boss, some new gameplay elements, etc., etc. And by the way, the entire segment was hype. My entire border was Elden Ring. In fact, let me find it. Well, now, of course, I can't find it because I want to do it fast. Now I can't find it. This was my border. Now, if you don't think that I'm hyped for this DLC, why would I make my whole border characters from FromSoft games? If you're not even aware, which you might not be, Elden Ring was my runner-up for Game of the Year. I love Elden Ring. Most of the things I said about the Elden Ring DLC on Wednesday were very, very positive. The one thing that was a question mark for me was the price. It's a $40 DLC. That's the most expensive ever. I even said in the podcast on Wednesday, it's a ripoff. Oh, we realized there's so much hype for this DLC that we're gonna charge whatever we want. Wow, that's kind of a lot 2 years later to be charging 40 bucks for this game. But anyway, so this is what we talked about on the show on Wednesday. Very, very positive. So that's where we left it, right? Yesterday, as you know, I check comments. I have to approve a bunch of them. And I start to notice a pattern. All of a sudden, I start seeing a bunch of really negative comments coming in on my podcast from yesterday. What is going on? Where are all these negative comments coming from? They're all around the same topic. You are misinformed about the Elden Ring DLC. Why are you spreading mass information about the Elden Ring DLC? What is this hot take that you have about the Elden Ring DLC? It's completely wrong. You're an old dinosaur who doesn't know what he's talking about, and you're just trying to create clickbait. What? So I went back and I looked at the video. The title of the video is like huge gaming news. Elden Ring DLC sucks. It's actually a very positive titling of the video. It doesn't have a clickbait title that's erroneous or negative for the sake of getting people to click on it. And so I'm like, I'm really confused. I continue to read the comments. You're slamming the Elden Ring DLC for being $40. How dare you slam a DLC that's 60 gigabytes in size with 10 boss fights, blah, blah, blah. And it keeps going on and on. Dozens of comments are coming in like this. I'm thinking to myself, what happened? I'm like, I think I know what happened. Someone, of course, probably one of my idiotic haters, probably posted up an out of context clip taking the one segment where I was speculating and saying, man, I hope it's worth 40 bucks because it could be a ripoff. Now, that was one tiny moment of speculation amongst a giant segment of my podcast that was incredibly positive about this DLC. But how much do you want to bet? That's the clip that was taken. They probably went to like a Reddit or something and posted it up there. So basically, these are people who are adamantly looking to defend their game against people who slander it. Sadly, people on the internet are so willing to become like this big defense force for the games that they're massive fans of, they don't do any research. I hate to say it, people on the internet are far too leaning towards being so into defending things they like for no good reason. You don't need to defend Elden Ring. Everyone knows it's terrible. Objectively, I don't like Elden Ring. I was overly unfair to it. I just thought that there was a lot of things that could have been improved. That's not the point of this video, so I don't need to list them here. You can watch my review of the game that I made in 2022 if you want to hear those. Today, we're going to be talking about Elden Ring, a game that was stuck in development hell for 5 years. The wait was not worth it. This game is a fucking piece of shit. It's terrible. It's not worth 60 bucks. And after playing it for 3.5 hours, I never want to fucking play it again. I immediately deleted it off of my PlayStation 4. Good riddance to bad fucking rubbish. This is the worst game I've ever played. Stay the fuck away from it. I hate Elden Ring and I'm crapping all over it for clickbait. Why do so many people hate Darkside Phil? This is why. If you actually just watched the podcast, you would know I don't like Elden Ring. I say right in the podcast, I hate the game. But the thing that really kills me is a lot of the things that people reference to say, oh, you were wrong, is information that wasn't publicly available when I did my podcast on Wednesday. At 11:10 a.m., none of the information about this DLC that people are using to reference and say, oh, you're wrong, was available. No one knew it was 60 gigabytes in size. No one knew the map would be the size of Limgrave. No one knew there were 10 bosses. No one knew there were 8 new weapons. No one knew anything. This came out in an interview with Miyazaki later in the day. Miyazaki outright said in the interview, are misrepresenting the game in a negative light on purpose for clickbait views. What clickbait views did I get? I don't even understand what they're talking about. Now, what was my favorite part of Elden Ring? The tip side of things, those were my favorite parts. I loved those. Give me more tips. That's exactly what I wanted. Give me $1 an hour. I'm okay with that. But again, why are people coming to my podcast and leaving dozens of negative comments, voting the video down? And I'm like, what is happening? It's nonsense. Now there's another 500 to 1,000 people who hate me. They outright think I'm a jerk because I crapped all over Elden Ring. They didn't even bother to watch my podcast and see what I said. Someone told them I said it, linked it, and they just went right to the video and left a nasty comment. What kind of a mentality is that? You didn't even bother to click play to see what was said in the podcast. Pretty insane. Please do more research before you come crap on someone. So anyway, I'm excited for the Elden Ring DLC. And I hope that you guys will join me for that fun later in the year, all right? Anyway, that's what happened. That's out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to game news, before we get to the schedule, I think it's time for us to do a little segment that I like to call Phil's Day Off, because we actually have some interesting and positive updates to give you guys. First of all, yesterday was a very busy day. I was running around doing errands all day long. As you can see, I got a haircut was one of the errands that I did out of many. We had to go like Costco and many other things. So we were out and about for a very large portion of the day, and it was tiring to do that. While we were out, is there anything notable to really mention from when we were out? Just a couple of things. First thing, we happened to just walk into Sears. Now, for those who don't know, Sears, or Sears Roebuck and Company, is one of the longest running department stores in the United States of America. They were synonymous with like the big shopping experiences in the United States. Sears is still open? Yes and no. Sears is on its way out and going out of business. But there's 3 locations left, and my local mall has one of them. So we go in there just on a whim to see what is Sears like today. Wow. They were massively understaffed, disorganized. The store was in shambles. So we go into this Sears, and at the door is exercise equipment. Now, this doesn't make sense. This is the ground level of the mall. You walk in, it's just a bunch of exercise equipment. Huh? So we actually walk further into the store, and we realize half the store is closed off, roped off, and completely empty. They used to have a big shoe department in the back. It's gone. They've blocked the entire department off. It doesn't exist anymore. the whole left-hand side of the store is taped off with that yellow hazard tape saying do not cross. Like, wow, what on earth? So we're like, well, I wonder what's on the other floors. We walk up to the escalator up is broken, and they're not going to fix it. The only way to get from floor to floor in the store is to use an old rickety elevator. But Kat actually looked at it and was like, I really don't want to use it. I'm actually terrified that elevator is going to break on the way up or down, and I don't want to go in there and be the story on the news that people got stuck in the Sears elevator. It literally reminds you of like going to like a hospital and going to see people who are sadly are on the end of their life and they're on life support, just sitting there saying their last goodbyes to people. That's what it feels like walking into the Sears. What the fuck happened? They used to have the Sears wish book. Does anyone remember the Sears wish book at all? Sears would send out a catalog and it would have all the awesome products that were available for sale at Sears. And the whole purpose of this catalog was that you and your family members would go through the catalog and select things you're interested in as a Christmas present. And you would exchange wish lists. They had to call it the wish book wish list. I did it every year. So my mom would give me the wish book and say, well, anything in here you like for Christmas? I was like, I want guns, knives, like things that kids shouldn't see were all in this wish book. This was part of Americana. This was a major part of American culture, a tradition. And now Sears is dead. That's wild to me. But anyway, for dinner we had some ramen. No, not in a cup. This is a gourmet restaurants. There's a lot of restaurants out here that do ramen because this is a hotbed of Asian culture in the United States. All the Asian cultures, when they come to the US, they come through our local airport because we're the closest to Asia. A lot of them just stayed here. They came and said, we're just going to settle here. So we've got all these different kinds of Asian cuisines and things, you know, Vietnamese, Filipino, Chinese, Japanese. All those are right here, and we have a few really good ramen places to go to, and we just happened to have an amazing one yesterday. It was so good. The only other thing really of note while we were out, we saw not one, not two, but 3 different Indians, and that's like unprecedented. Like maybe every once in a while around here we'll see like one, and so the cop showed up with a tow truck. The other part of the Phil's Day Off segment. So this is kind of cool. As you guys know, my wife and I have done some co-op recently. We actually played the Dondoko Island sim game in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. We got the money we needed, luckily. I'm good now for the rest of the playthrough. We don't have to go back to it, so we're done with that. So we've been looking into some other games to play together for co-op. And we looked into a few that you guys suggested. The first one that many people were suggesting is this game called Overcooked. We actually watched a group of people playing it together. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It doesn't look very good to us. It's boring. There's really nothing going on. It's just a bunch of little guys going, hey, put it together, do this, okay. There's nothing really fun about the gameplay. It just doesn't look that good at all. This is not a game that's fun to watch. Watching people play it, we were bored to tears. Dropping $40 for something we were bored watching for like 25 minutes is not going to be worth it. But there are other things we're looking into as well. And I'm just going to say this, because some people have completely the wrong mentality about this. Kat is my wife. She's forced to come in here to earn a paycheck just to pump out video content for you as a product to make money. Do you understand? Well, why do you need to like what you're playing? Just get her butt in there and do co-op and pump out the videos like everyone else on the internet. I'm forcing myself to do shit to make a paycheck. Just us pumping out a fucking video to make money. But you're not gonna see us happy. You're gonna see us kind of annoyed. We're not gonna be in here like happy actors. Oh, every game we play is so cheery and great because we love all games because we're pumping out fake content for you, so you'll give us money. Do you see? So understand, Kat is an employee. You have to understand that. Just fucking make content. Shut up. Be grateful anyone wants to see your content. If you think you are entitled to have my wife come in here and make co-op content with me, you're pretty fucked up in the head. People on the internet are not just entitled to make the content you want immediately, whether or not they're enjoying themselves. That's ridiculous. Just pump out the content. Well, no. All right, Ad the Gamer, I've had enough of you. Really, I've had enough of you and your toxic attitude. So if you want to apologize to me later, you can come back. But for now, just leave and don't come back. Okay. That's the deal with that. Now, there is a positive update. A fan contacted us and said, I liked your co-op in Dondoko. It's a shame you didn't both have the audio. I'd like to fix that. So unprompted, unasked for, a fan got us another pair of Neckphones. Why not buy an aux splitter? We did buy an aux splitter. Just stop talking out of your butt. You weren't here for the stream, were you? We had an aux splitter. My wife has earbuds. She put in the earbuds, but they're noise canceling earbuds. She couldn't hear anything. And we don't have another pair of headphones in the house. So now we'll each have a pair of these to wear when we do content moving forward. So there you go. So that's what's going on the Phil's Day Off. To the person who donated those, thank you so much. Okay, so now we have a little bit of time for news. News story number 1. Mortal Kombat 1 is finally getting cross-play. Mortal Kombat 1, which came out in September, is now over 6 months old, has lost about 87% of its player base, is now getting crossplay. Huh? If ever you heard something that was too little too late, I think that would be it. Like, what the hell were they thinking, waiting over 6 months to add a feature they promised would release around launch? I'm certainly not going back to Mortal Kombat 1 to play crossplay. The game doesn't play well without crossplay. The connections are awful. And now they're gonna do crossplay? What a joke. For me, this is a huge non-announcement and a waste of everybody's time. The final news story I want to cover today actually surprised me. Are you ready for this? PC support for the PlayStation VR 2 is coming by the end of this year. I'm going to repeat what I just said. If you buy a PlayStation VR 2, by the end of the year, it's supposed to work on PC. So do you understand what that means? You'll be able to play PC VR games on the PSVR 2. If you have a console, is it a no-brainer to just buy this device? Because you're going to be able to play all the Sony exclusive VR games from PlayStation 5 and also all PC VR games on this thing too. Or am I misunderstanding it? Because the news stories aren't clear and that's what's pissing me off. I couldn't figure this out. If you could play everything on it, that sounds to me like this is the killer device. Some people are saying, no, I'm misunderstanding the situation. So how am I misunderstanding? Because I want to report the correct information. What is the truth of the situation so we can report this fairly? Okay, I'm getting the full story. I'm glad. So here's how it works. If you have a PSVR 2 and you plug it into your PC, you can play all PC-oriented VR games on Steam. If you plug it into your PS5, you can play all the PS5-centric VR games, but there's no crossover. To me, though, that's the killer device then. I want a PSVR 2. I think this sounds like a great idea and a great value. I think that Sony's doing the right thing here. So let me get this straight. You would be able to play Half-Life Alyx on your PSVR 2 on your PC, correct? I would get PSVR 2 for sure. 100%. I'd be buying that. But if I'm saying things wrong here, please roast my testicles in the comments of the video. So anyway, that's the news. Now it's time to get ready to do shoutouts. So let's start on the YouTube side of things. We start off today with Evoker to the Face, who became a member this morning. It might have been a legit new membership. Thank you, Evoker to the Face. If that's the case, I appreciate that. I'd also like to say thank you to Lucifer Soul, who re-upped their membership for 9 months at the super supporter level. And says, if you have 5 lit candles at night and a wind blew 2 of them out, how many would you be able to relight on the next day? All of them. There's no reason you can't relight a candle on the next day. Unless a candle completely melts. But there's no way to gauge if that's going to happen or not unless you know the specific length of each candle and the rate at which they burn. So honestly, there's no proper way to actually answer this question. So it's a bad question. Sorry about that, Lucifer Soul. You failed. Okay, continuing on. Okay, let's get to the tip side of things this morning, shall we? So we start off today with a $1 tip. Now, I'm just going to say this. I can neither confirm nor deny the things that people tell me in tips. I just read them, all right? Just to let you know, Phil, Rich has gone full damage. He's fired his editor on his birthday. His true colors have leaked. You were right, Phil. Karma's a bitch, and he got his. How am I supposed to respond to this exactly? What is the response that I'm supposed to give to that tip? Okay. Here's what I think people want to hear from me, and then I'm going to actually give you my real response. I think what people want to hear from me is, I don't care. I actually don't wish ill will against anyone. Okay, that's not my actual response. My response is, wow, I'm so happy that people are having misfortunes, right? Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness that horrible things are happening to people who've been horrible to me. Karma's a bitch, and what comes around goes around. I would hope that these people who have done awful things to me die any second. That was the end of that. Oh, did you hear that Rich's business is falling apart and everyone doesn't like him now? RIP to ReviewTechUSA. Revel in the misfortunes of others. That was the whole stream. Okay. Blackjack Yak just did a super chat. He says, you know, I should have become a member of yours a long time ago. You've handled the review tech drama situation with maturity. You're a good man and a great example to others. Right? Like, there's been drama things with review tech and others that have been way more drama-esque than anything I've ever done, but I'm the one that gets all the ire of the internet for some odd reason. Yeah, last year, ReviewTech had drama with some kind of a charity thing. He screwed a charity. He lied about charity. He did awful things. People are hammering me with information. Did you hear how he went back on his charity and he freaked out on his viewers and this? And then guess what? Never brought up again. If I were in that situation, this would be the thing talked about for the next 7 years. So everyone else just gets a pass. But when Darkside Phil sneezes and a booger flies out of his nose on camera, that's like canceled material, right? I don't get it, but that's just how I'm treated versus others. Whenever someone wrongs me, I immediately get bombarded with information about the negative things that person or group has done. Like after the Side Scrollers interview last year, people bombarded me with information about how horrible Stuttering Craig and Adam Kriegler are as individuals. Here you go. Here's all this toxic stuff. Go ahead, destroy Craig and Adam. They sent me like laundry lists of shit, hoping that I was going to do toxic streams about them. Guess how many toxic streams I did about those guys? 0. Because that's not who I am. Own it!
Being a victim happens, but you're choosing to remain a victim and using it to milk your subscribers, the people that support you. You know what? I have no respect for people who take advantage of the people who support them.
Congratulations, Adam! Adam! Good. With the most uninformed rant of the year award. Yes, Adam. So everyone, applaud this man. Most uninformed man I've ever heard talk about me, actually. I'm a drama creator. I'm a negative person. That's who I want to be. Understand? Another dollar tip from Kirk. Good for you, Phil. As Elon Musk says, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Don't pay attention to anything Elon Musk says. I like to retain brain cells, not lose them. I thank you for the dollar tip regardless, Kirk. Dr. Oink did a super chat and says, been playing Steve Tech 8. Game seems unbalanced. What the hell is that? I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm confused about what you're saying there. I don't know if that's a reference to something or there actually is a game called that and he's playing it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. Anyway, thanks, Dr. Oink. Oh, you're playing Steve in Tekken 8. That's what he meant to say. Oh, Dr. Oink says he's playing Steve in Tekken 8 and the game seems unbalanced. You know, I can't attest to that. You know, I really like Tekken and I am disappointed because I like it so much. I want to play it more. I'm craving it during the week. But I know, sadly, that's not really resonating with most of my audience. And it is disappointing to me. I wish that you guys liked it more. I wish that it had caught on like Street Fighter 6 did. It totally hasn't now. At this point, I'm lucky to get viewers on it at all. Streams are dead. Wow. Like, you guys really aren't into Tekken at all. And it's funny, because I'm, like, watching my game. I'm like, every time I play this game, I lose. Oh, my gameplay of Tekken 8 sucks. Right? I got one more tip here. Huh? So I got a dollar tip. Someone says, you know you can play Tekken in your free time. No one forces you to play it stream only. I don't know how many times I've explained to everybody. I'm in here 6 days a week, full time, constant gameplay. When I leave this room, to spend time with my family. The last thing that I want to do is pick up a controller and play video games. Like, that's not gonna happen. I want my life outside of this room to be separate from this so that my whole life isn't video games, video games, video games, video games. Do you understand? I don't want to just be playing games my whole life. Like, that's nuts. I'd lose my mind. I really would. I am not going to sit here and grind in Tekken off camera. I don't have time. Dude, I'm 41, about to be 42 years old, but married with a family, busy shit. I'm not going to sit here grinding in Tekken off stream when I could be spending time with my family. What are you, crazy? I'm going to sit in my office playing Tekken away from my family when I'm not on stream. That's stupid. I'm not doing that. Okay, are we good? I think it's time to end the show. Am I right or am I right? John Rambo technically wasn't my wife. Do you understand? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills